Okay, so I'm here in Vancouver with my cousin Elizabeth, who's going to share an experiment. She's a student at the University of Victoria, and she participates in this Let's Talk Science program. Can you briefly tell us about that?
Yeah, so with Let's Talk Science, basically what we do is we go into classrooms, so anywhere in elementary school or high school, and we present workshops on science. So pretty much any area in science. We do biology, chemistry, physics, do a bunch of engineering and that kind of thing. And we're really just promoting scientific literacy in the communities. Yeah, and it's nationwide, so everywhere in Canada, I think pretty much every university has a Let's Talk Science chapter.
Yeah, so I'll be looking out for it along my trip across Canada. And what do you have ready to share with us today?
So the activity that we're going to do is called Infectious Diseases. So basically the idea here is to explain a little bit about viruses, how they're spread in the community. If the kids are older and a little bit more experienced with science, then we'd go into the biology a little bit more of viruses. But the main thing here is the spread of diseases in the community. So basically the idea is that all of the kids would have their cups of water here, and this is sort of, I guess, their immune system. And so before the activity, what we'll do is we'll get all the cups ready. They're usually in test tubes too, to make it look a little bit more scientific. But there is one kid who has either an acid or a base in their cup. Usually we use sodium hydroxide, but vinegar is a little bit more easy to come by in the home, so that's what we're using.
Although in the home, if you have a drain cleaner, it's usually concentrated sodium hydroxide, and usually a stronger strength than you'd be allowed to use in most schools.
Interesting. So, like I was saying, all the kids will have their water, but one kid who will be patient 0 will have either the acid or base in their cup. And so what we do is all the kids will kind of go around and mingle with their test tube immune systems, and they'll each have a pipette. And so what we'll be using here is a turkey baster. But what we want them to do is, usually here I'll play music, and so the kids will walk around while the music's playing. And once we stop the music, then they'll have to do an exchange with one other student. So they'll pipette their liquid and then put it into the other person's test tube. So they both do the pipette and do a transfer. And they have to note down who they've transferred with. And depending on the size of the group, if it's a class of about 20 kids, we'll do 3 transfers. But we've had homeschooling groups where it's maybe 10 kids, so then we do maybe 2 each. Once that's all done, we use the indicator. So should we do a demo right now?
Yeah, sounds great.
So these will be our 3 glasses, and we'll make this one patient 0 here. So we'll put some vinegar in. Maybe that much? I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, that should still come out.
Okay. Alright, so let's say this one's patient 0, and so let's say that these 2 are doing an exchange together. So patient 0, oops, should know how to pipette, is exchanging with this one, and ideally they would have separate pipettes, but I guess it doesn't really matter since this one we know isn't infected. So let's just say they both swapped. But either way, this one is now hopefully infected. I'm not sure if it will show up on the test. So we have patient 0 infected and a cup that didn't get an infection. So by the end, we want to now show which kids got infected. And this part's usually fun because then we'll tell the kids as they're coming up, oh, you got the disease or you didn't, and they'll get all excited about whether they died or they survived. So that can be fun too. But I'll take this now, and it might kind of ruin it with the vinegar. But anyways, so we'll take some of our indicator, and what we did here is we boiled red cabbage. So I took about half the cabbage and boiled it in maybe 2 cups of water, and then just let that sit for about 10 minutes, and then it comes out purple. And this as an indicator is really good because in base it will turn blue and in acid it will turn pink. So that's another fun point too, is if the kids are more advanced, then you can use this to explain a little bit more about acids and bases, depending on how much time you have in the workshop, but that can be fun too. So we'll take a bit of the indicator. So you can see this one's more purpley and that's more pink, and so this is with the acid, so we would say this one got the infection. And of course that's because there is the exchange between these two. And then this is patient 0 here.
So it should be at least as pink as the infected.
Yes, we would hope. Oh. Yeah, and that's already quite pink. But after we've done all of this, and we can write down who got infected and who didn't, and then usually we it's a little bit of math involved here. So on a chalkboard or something, we would write down all of the kids, sort of like in a matrix, I guess.
A matrix or like a tree diagram?
A matrix.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we write whether they got, first of all, whether they're infected or not, and then we do a check if they've exchanged with, like, say, patient 1 and then patient 2. If they exchange, we put a check.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And if they didn't, we put an X, and we do that for the whole thing. And basically...
So like all the patients on both horizontal and vertical.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and then from that, usually you can kind of go backwards and figure out who was the original person. And the kids are pretty good at figuring it out, so it's also another cool thing for them to be able to do. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's really simple. It's fun, and you can get a lot of different areas of science incorporated into it. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that with me.
You're welcome.